latest Mercy changes are here, and after having a lot of time of messing around with them, I have a lot of thoughts. Let's start with the change that I believe that most players probably won't even notice. As many of you know, Valkyrie is Mercy's ult. There were some changes though to it. Mercy's ultimate charge cost has been increased by 7%. Honestly, I barely even noticed this change at first, as Mercy still pretty much builds her ultimate pretty fast. And while you do lose a few seconds of that ult charge being there, it really doesn't mess around with her too much. Now, those few seconds can absolutely matter, especially in a close game where every second matters the most. But at the same time, Valkyrie really isn't exactly considered one of the strongest ultimates in the game. Compared to how it was back in Overwatch 1, it's pretty lackluster in comparison. Most players aren't exactly worried when you hear a Mercy ult go out. So while I understand Blizzard's reasoning here, due to the fact that they did add Flash Heal into Mercy's basic kit, it did cause some problems where her ult charge was getting picked up a little too fast for their liking. I can also understand why some Mercy players just don't seem too excited about this change. When the ultimate itself already feels underwhelming, it does feel a little strange to see that they're increasing its cost. To me, this change is just fine. I can see why they did it, but it's definitely not the change I'm most concerned about. If you've played Overwatch for a while, you'll know that this is not something new. Blizzard loves to mess around with Mercy's damage boost. It's normally around 30 to 20% anyways, so thankfully they didn't drop it down to 20, but with a 5% reduction, it is still pretty noticeable. First, this was easily my least favorite change in the patch, but once I started looking at the bigger picture, I realized Blizzard wasn't necessarily trying to nerf Mercy's overall damage application. Instead, they were reworking Chain Boost. Before this update, Chain Boost functioned primarily as a beam amplifier. When Mercy damage boosted one player, the perk would automatically connect to a second nearby player, allowing her to boost multiple heroes at once. With this update, Blizzard has changed Chain Boost to now increase Mercy's damage boost by 5%. So if you take Chain Boost, you're effectively getting back that 30% damage boost. That's why I don't feel this change was necessarily intended as a straight up nerf to Mercy. It feels more like Blizzard wanted to redistribute her power and make the major perk choice more meaningful. The problem is that I'm not convinced it actually accomplished that though. Now, Double Dose isn't new. We've had it since mid-April, and it's actually a perk that I very much enjoy. For anyone unfamiliar with Double Dose, it gives Flash Heal an additional charge while reducing its healing by 10. After playing with the latest changes, I still think Double Dose feels pretty good. That being a hot take, but having 2 Flash Heal charges feels so natural that I honestly wouldn't really mind seeing it being added into Mercy's base kit someday. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of people mad with that. Her healing is good, but I do really enjoy Double Dose. The issue is that it's competing directly with the newly buffed Chain Boost. And that's where I think Blizzard may have missed the mark. I feel as though they are trying to make people stray away from Double Dose, as now Chain Boost is the more popular choice to go with due to that 5% extra damage boost. So by reducing Mercy's base damage boost and then allowing Chain Boost to restore that lost value, Blizzard may have actually encouraged even more players to choose Chain Boost instead of creating a balanced choice between the 2 perks. I personally feel it should be based off of how the gameplay is going. If you need more healing, Double Dose. If you need more damage boost, Chain Boost. But now it just feels as though you need to have Chain Boost. If the goal was to make both major perks equal, I'm not sure this was the right way to do it. My final thoughts though, after playing with these changes, Mercy honestly feels mostly the same. The biggest difference I've noticed is definitely the reduced damage boost whenever I'm not running Chain Boost. The Valkyrie change increase is there, but it's minor enough that most players probably won't notice it unless they're actively tracking their ultimate economy. I still don't completely understand why Blizzard felt the need to increase the cost of an ultimate that's already considered fairly weak, but it's not a change that's going to make or break the hero. As for the damage boost adjustments, I think Blizzard's intentions make sense. They want to shift power around and reinforce Chain Boost identity. The problem is that Chain Boost was already a pretty good perk. But now you have two major perks that are running head to head that are very much needed. It's either 5% extra damage boost or double dose and have an extra flash heal. Now it doesn't really feel as though it revolves around the environment that's going on. The Mercy community has already been very vocal about wanting additional changes, so it'll be interesting to see if Blizzard responds in future mid-season patch. But for now, despite all the discussion surrounding these updates, Mercy still feels like Mercy. She's still enjoyable to play, still capable of having impact, and while some of these changes are questionable, I don't think they've fundamentally changed who she is as a hero. What do you think? Are these changes healthy for Mercy? Or do you think Blizzard missed the mark? Let me know in the comments down below.